What's shaking, everyone? Welcome back to Mindset Motivated with Sifu Zack George and yours truly, Robert Bruski, the podcast where we talk about all things mindset and motivation related. And this episode could end up being quite a heavy one because it is on the subject of depression. Okay, so I'm going to throw a volley out there. Okay, I'm going to just volley this ball out here, and I'm going to get Zack to talk about this a bit. But in my mind, I feel that there is a very significant difference between clinically diagnosed depression and circumstantial depression. And I get the feeling that the majority of depression you hear people talk about is circumstantial, in that it is because of something that has just happened and you'll get over it. Whereas the clinical one is an actual chemical imbalance for which you are prescribed medication to try to deal with and isn't based off a circumstance. And we're not qualified to talk about the clinical depression, so we're going to chat about this circumstantial depression. What do you think about that digression between that difference between different types of depression?
Sure. Okay. So we want to make this episode about depression. We don't want to make this episode depressing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So let's get that. Let's get out of there. Don't turn us off. All right. Listen.
We'll cue some happy music right now.
All right. So circumstantial depression, and you know what? We're all human. Life is like a roller coaster. It truly is. Let's say, your wife leaves you, your dog dies, you lose your job, you get in a car accident, and you're going through some depression. Damn right you're going through depression, for sure. You should be. If you're not, you should get yourself checked out, by a psychiatrist, right? Because, when circumstantial depression happens, when things just didn't work out. It's not fair. Things did not go the way we wanted them to go. Whether it's an injury, whether it's a medical illness that you have, a loved one passing away, whether it's, you're feeling like you're being treated unfairly, or every aspect of the word depressed, right? Like I'm not pressed, I'm less than pressed, right? I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is human. We go through these things. So in terms of like depression, if I'm looking at circumstantial depression,
how do you deal with it?
Yeah. So,
loaded question.
Yeah, it is really a loaded question.
I feel that like dealing with circumstantial depression starts with understanding that it is circumstantial.
Yeah.
That is because something has happened that has put you in that place, not because the entire world has it out for you.
That's right. Yeah.
And that everything in your life is done and there's no pathway forward and you got to give up, right?
Yeah, I apologize. It kind of froze up there because there's so much to talk about with this too. I find that when I'm feeling depressed, like you say, it's when things didn't work out. And what I wanted to say is depression is actually anger turned inward. So anger is, an outward thing. If I have anger, you're going to see it. It's an action, right? But when I am unable, I could be in a position where my anger has to be depressed. So somebody that's pressed down, that, the old story of the old housewife that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pressed down and then suffers from depression, or the person that works the same, goes through the same routine, isn't loving life, and they become angry because they, see everybody getting up and they're gauging their own outcome towards everybody else's. They're going to become depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So the way out of depression is I have to stop looking at what I don't have. I have to stop focusing, because you can actually hardwire your brain to become like a depressing person.
A mindset of scarcity versus a mindset of abundance.
That's correct. Yeah. Depression is also based off our history of things happening, as well as anxiety, actually. If I've had a bad experience doing something over and over and over again, before I do it, I will have anxiety.
Yep.
Depression is usually something that we're dealing with that's in the past. I'm depressed about something that has happened to me or happened, and the way that it affects me or makes me feel. So, battling out of depression, the first thing is try to come into the moment.
Okay.
Try to bring yourself into the moment. Stop thinking about the past. Cut that off. Once you're in the moment, create a gratitude list. You know, when my 2 feet hit the ground in the morning and my eyes open and I can see and I take that deep breath, I already got 3 things to throw on my gratitude list, right? Yeah. And then anything else after that comes in, you know what, we're born, if you're listening to this and you're in Canada, you know, you were born in Canada. If you're hearing this, that means that you have the ability to hear.
Yep.
You know, probably fingers to type to find us. I mean, there's some things to be grateful for right there. And then there's that old thing that pulls me out of my depression sometimes. Sometimes, oh God, it's a spiral. I'll just be throwing a pity party for Zack. Oh my God.
Can I come? I love parties.
Oh man, you do not want to come to this pity party. You know, and something that can pull us out of that is again, reaching out to somebody else. Usually when I'm depressed, I'm at my most selfish, self-centered moment because I'm thinking about me. Guess what? I take me out of the equation of this whole thing, and the world is absolutely perfect the way it's running on its own. It's only me that's making myself the center of the universe, that everything has to revolve the way I want it to, that I become depressed. And you know, things happen that are unfair. Bad things happen. But the way out of it is to always come back. And like I say, something that pulls me out is that phrase, usually it's a first world problem, right? I can't, I'm having trouble, you know, because I had a flood in my house and, you know, my wife's being annoying. Well, you have a house and a wife.
Yeah.
Right? My job is terrible. You have a job too. Oh. Yeah, my car's broken down. Oh, you have a license.
Grateful.
And a car.
Have gratitude.
You have somewhere to go, right? Oh, I'm going to be late for this. Well, at least you have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? People won't leave me alone. At least there's people in your life that want to get a hold of you. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, I find, at least in my world, a lot of depression comes because of something financial.
Yeah, you know? Well, that's, I think, not to categorize, I think men go through the...
Could be. Yeah. But you know what? I saw a guy on the internet say, hey, if you woke up and I gave you $1 million, would you be happy? And everyone was like, oh, is this a trick question? Like, what's going on? He goes, come on, be honest. If I gave you $1 million when you woke up, would you be happy? And everyone was like, yeah, well, yeah, of course you would be. And then he said, well, if I gave you $1 million, now imagine I gave you $1 million, but you weren't able to wake up. And then everyone was like, oh, wait, no. Waking up is worth way more than $1 million.
That's right.
Puts into perspective the gratitude that you have around just being.
Yeah. And you know what? I wanna go back over when I said just it's mostly men. Women, I find it's security.
Right.
You know what? And they're the same thing. We're just using different words.
Yeah, totally. Different genders experience very different things. I learned this in the financial world too. So the depression comes from very different places. Absolutely.
That's right. So if you're feeling depressed and you're feeling like life has got you down and you're spiraling out of control, stop thinking about the past. Sit down, write a gratitude list. You know what? Instead of wondering why nobody's calling you to see how you are, why don't you reach out to somebody and ask them how they're doing? Get yourself out of yourself and be of service.
Well said. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mindset Motivated for this episode with Sifu Zack George and yours truly, Robert Bruski. If you like what we have to say, send us some emails, some comments, some messages. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And until next time, stay frosty.
Stay hungry.
Yeah.